Wreck My Podcast.
5-6, grab your crucifix and your bowl of popcorn, because we are covering Wes Craven's classic film, A Nightmare on Elm Street, this week on Wreck My Halloween.
Wreck My Podcast.
Welcome to Wreck My Podcast. It's spooky season. We're days away from Halloween, or maybe we're past Halloween. I don't know when you people listen, but we are covering the winner of our poll. That's right. Every year we do a poll and we see who wins. And this year, A Nightmare on Elm Street won. Were you guys surprised by that at all?
A little.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by
the other movies that were options. I was a little surprised.
Yeah, Halloween I thought was going to actually win this one, but I think it came pretty close, but it didn't quite make it. And then Poltergeist and Nightmare on Elm Street, you went into the finals, and man, Nightmare just destroyed Poltergeist.
Is
I'm glad
Poltergeist the one with the girl
lost.
who says they're here?
Yes,
Yeah, terrible movie.
I saw that in high school, so I was like, I didn't vote for that one. I want to watch it again.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I can't. I guess it might be a terrible movie. I don't remember. It's been so long. I just remember the ending as like an Indian burial ground or something. Is like that's the whole point
Yeah,
of
that's
why
where the
these
house
goes.
was
I had to
built
watch
on.
it in film class in either high school or college. I can't remember.
Oh, well, what a film class
You
there.
took a film class?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How did Cam not bring this up before?
I know. Like, how have you not talked?
I guess I've never mentioned it. It was just like, it wasn't anything like, oh, I was trying to be in film. It was just like, it was, oh,
This is a
seems
movie.
I was like, I like movies. This seems like it'll be easy credits, you know?
Well, I mean, that's the caliber of class it was because they had you watch Poltergeist of all movies. That's not that great of a movie. But anyway, I'm here with two of my guests this week. That's right. It goes up with his with a twirling lawnmower. It's Kreger. That was such a weird line. Also, really hard to say, surprisingly. So kudos to that actor. He's always sleeping in a crop top. It's Joe.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Also, what is this? Yeah, what is this little nursery rhyme? Like, where did this even come from?
3,
You gotta add some
4,
sort of
all
children's song in there.
That's true.
3,
Were those
Better lock
kids
the door.
jumping
The
rope supposed
first
to be
girl-
like
I'm
Nancy
trying to
and her
say a
friends
joke,
when they were
damn
kids?
it.
Who were they supposed to be?
I think they are some of the children that Fred Krueger murdered.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, and by the way, I am your host. I stay up all night to watch Miss Nude America. I'm Jordan. So
the good old days when you wake up randomly at night and your TV channel happens to pick up the Girls Gone Wild commercials.
or the good old times when at midnight it just goes, "We're off there, ladies and gentlemen," and it's static.
Do you remember when they used to play the Howard Stern show and then it was like Wild On after that?
Yes, I totally remember that. Yeah, after midnight it got a little crazy.
I don't remember what
lovely.
channel that would have been on.
Like 92. Like it was some crazy, which
Spike TV.
I guess young people may not think that's a high channel. Actually, they may be like, what's a channel? But like, I feel like anything over 60 was kind of like crazy up there. It's like, I probably shouldn't be watching this, but I'm going to.
Yeah, but then Nickelodeon and Disney were always like in the 50s.
Yeah, they were like right there. You never, it was kind of like how your parents said, okay, you can go to the end of the block, but no further. And it's like right when you crossed, you felt like you were doing something wrong. Right when you hit channel 61, you were like, I know I'm still
Wild
really
on
close. Yeah, I know I'm still really close, but I shouldn't be this far.
See, I used to bike ride all over the place when I was young, so.
Oh man, would you grow up in the 70s?
Just in
Krager
Van
and his
Nuys.
bike. Every episode.
Krager loves. Oh, good callback.
I
We
haven't
forgot
talked
about the
about
bike.
any form of bicycle two-wheel transportation in months.
Hey, Krager, how's your hammock doing?
It's good. I brought it when I went camping and it was fun.
Also,
How's your bike?
joke about Wiener Schnitzel. That's all the shtick for Krager.
All dumb things as usual.
All right, guys.
Prison wallet.
Let me do. Yeah. That's his catchphrase. Let's do Jordan Explains the Movie real quick. But a guest, there's a twist. We're actually going to cover not just the 1984 version, but I just watched last night the 2010 remake. So we're going to talk about that one too. We're going to do like a little double thing. I didn't tell you guys to watch it, but I kind of want to bring
I've seen
it
it
up.
before.
I figured you did, Joe, because I mean, you're the one who got me into horror films. So I figured you watched all the like Michael Bay reboot stuff from the 2000s.
It was Michael Bay that rebooted it?
Yeah, Platinum Dunes, his production company. He produced Halloween, or no, that was Rob Zombie, but he did
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, Amityville Horror, and Nightmare on Elm Street were the three his production company.
I think
rebooted.
Michael Bay has a new movie coming out. Looks kind of good.
Is it called Explosions?
Probably.
Just cut the middleman out.
The Amityville Horror remake he did, is that the one with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes, where Ryan Reynolds has like the craziest abs I've ever seen while he's chopping wood.
Is that not every movie besides Van Wilder?
I mean, he's usually not chopping wood in his movies.
You don't know.
You're right. I don't know. That part just blocks out my brain. Anyway, here's Jordan Explains the Movie for the 1984 edition.
Oh yes, it's time for Jordan to explain the movie quickly.
A group of kids are plagued by nightmares featuring the same guy with knives for fingers. But it's just a dream, so nothing to worry about, right? False. One of the girls is murdered in her dream, and everyone thinks it was her boyfriend because no one believes a murder nightmare demon is logical. Nancy isn't convinced though, and she thinks they are in danger. Well, she's right, because another kid mysteriously ends up dead in their sleep. Nancy finds out his name is Fred Krueger and learns that he was a child murderer who didn't get convicted, so the parents of Elm Street killed him in a boiler room by setting it on fire with him inside. Freddy is now torturing the children of those who killed him. Nancy wants to draw Freddy out of her dreams and sets a bunch of traps to do so, but she realizes if she revokes him, he loses his power. So she does that, and she gets all of her friends back. But the happy ending doesn't last long because she's still dreaming, and Freddy is back, and he pulls the mom through a window, or at least like a blow-up doll version of her. All right, so my question is, Joe, have you seen this movie before?
Yes.
Okay, Kreger, have
Many
you seen
times.
this movie before?
I have not. No.
Oh, this was your first time watching it?
Really?
You watched it at the TV at work?
I watched part of it. I watched part of it on my phone, part of it at the TV at work.
Man, what a crappy movie-going experience for you.
Not really. I still got
Were you
the
able
gist of
to
it.
pay attention?
Yeah.
I mean, what was that?
Slow
like
day at the office?
Was that like a Sunday night? Who's there on a Sunday night?
I mean at work, at my regular job, not at Pocock.
Oh, I thought he was like slinging beer behind the bar.
No,
Trying to watch a movie while doing it.
No. So at my welding job, there's TVs in the lunchroom, and one of my coworkers for the past like several months has been throwing movies from his phone onto the TV, and we watch a movie during lunch, and he happened to be in the field for this week, and so I was watching on my phone, and my coworker's like, "Hey, just throw it on TV." I'm like, "All right." I'm already like 20 minutes in, but sure. And so yeah, watched like 2/3 of it.
So I'm curious,
That
what
way.
did you think then, Kreger?
Wait, so
since this
does
is
that
your-
mean you didn't finish it?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying I watched 2/3 of it on the work TV and 2/3 of it on the other third on my phone.
All right. And what's your take?
He took 4/3 of it.
It was actually, I didn't think it was that bad for the time. I personally find some older horror films I find a little bit more scary due to the quality, like the film quality makes it like almost a little bit scarier because it's like older, but also because the special effects are more practical. So even though they don't look as real, they're not digital, so it gives them a realistic effect. I feel more because when you see the visual effects in horror movies, you can kind of like, oh, that's fake, whereas like this is fake, but at least it's like tangible.
Yeah, who doesn't
If
love
that makes any
pancake
sense.
mix on stairs?
Okay. Oh yeah, I was like the contractor clearly said the marshmallow stairs will not be structurally sound.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, there was a lot of fight over those stairs, too.
Oh yeah, did you watch the movies that made us, Joe?
Yes, I did.
I did too. Yep. So I was just telling Kreger.
All the different endings.
Let me ask you, Joe. Kreger enjoyed it his first viewing. How about you, Joe? Did you like this movie since you've seen it so many times? Or you kind of like?
Yeah,
starting
I
to-
mean, I've seen this so many times. Same with Halloween and Friday the 13th, those classic horrors. I mean, it's I don't know. It's also part of the whole being a small budget and being able to create this multi-million-dollar franchise out of
Yeah,
an
that's
idea. I've
crazy.
always
I
liked
mean,
it.
the fact that New Line Cinema is such a known production company now, and the first movie they ever produced was Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's what
The house
all
that Freddy
all I know
built.
is this.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see the Freddy Krueger appearance in Cars. So
Cars, because
Like
you want to
the
see his
ending?
convertible.
no, the ending when they kind of hint that they're trapped in his him as a car. You know, 'cause
I don't think that was
the-
a hint. I'm pretty sure that was like legit, just like, nope, Freddy
I
got
know,
you.
but I'm saying when I saw that, all I thought of was like, well, Lightning McQueen's got a little angry.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Freddy Krueger, I think, is probably one of the coolest of all the horror villains. You know, Jason, Pinhead,
Yeah,
whatever other ones there are. I think Freddy's the
Mike
coolest.
Myers.
Now,
yeah, and I love the Rick and Morty adaptation of Freddy. It's pretty funny.
I never saw
Scary
that one.
Terry. It's his name is Scary Terry, and he just says and he says bitch all the time, pretty much.
Oh, nice. That sounds like
but,
Freddy Krueger in the later movies.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that it definitely plays more to
The later?
sequels to the Nightmare on Elm Street.
One thing I wanted to bring up with you guys as kids. So I've never seen this movie before, and as kids, did you guys ever have fever dreams? Like where the one where like when you have a fever, you kind of have the same nightmare that happens like every fever or like a similar nightmare. Like
I
a fever
still
dream?
do. I dream in not cycles, but like I have a lot of deja vu dreams where like all settings or people will be the same in my dreams quite consistently.
Yeah, well, I thought it was funny watching this, and when I watch Rick and Morty, when they kind of do that Freddy parody, my fever dream was always the background was like that, like red machine
Boiler room.
kind of set in the same recurring fever dream. It was always that aesthetic.
That's
And
interesting.
every time I saw that, I'm all like, I've never seen this movie. I've never seen a scary movie where they kind of have that, and that always was my fever dream background.
That's
I
so
thought it was
funny
kinda
that you've never
crazy.
seen this movie, but it's so reminiscent of the Freddy Krueger like
Yeah.
setting.
Yeah, it's. I thought that was kind of interesting and also weird.
You know what's interesting is I don't remember any of my dreams anymore. It's been over a year since I can recall a dream.
Whoa. Maybe you just don't dream anymore.
It comes and goes for me. Like a lot of times, don't remember my dreams, but like I know I had a dream a couple nights ago, and I remember right before I woke up, I was like somewhere in like a LA-ish looking area, and I was crossing the street to go to Target to buy some Oreos. I woke up, I'm like, man, I want some Oreos now. And I still remember that very vividly.
It's like the dream when you're like, I dreamt I was eating a giant marshmallow. I woke up, my pillow was gone. I never found it. So
Yeah, like there's this one dream I only had once, and this is back when I was all like in between 6 and 10 was when I had this dream, because it was at the house. I know that's when I lived there. And I remember I was in a car, and then it like crashed
Did I have
on the
a
freeway.
red and
but,
green
like,
top?
No, but it was like you know where like the freeway goes over like a street, and you're kind of on a bridge.
Bridge?
It went over
Yeah,
that,
a bridge.
and like I was like almost gonna fall out of it, and then like end up falling out, and like I remember like falling face first towards the ground, and as soon as I hit the ground, I woke up. And
so you had like an inception dream and it like jolted you out of it.
Exactly. Like, and that I remember that vividly. I like the car, the setting, everything. And that was back when I was in between 6 and 10.
I've never
10
like
years old.
fallen out of my bed during a dream.
Me neither.
I thought you just said that you fell out of your bed with this dream. You're saying
No.
in your dream you were falling and then you woke up. I thought you actually
And then I
fell out of
woke
your
up,
bed.
but I remember I woke up like, and like I kind of consciously, my body did that
Jolted.
whole like jolt thing.
Jolted.
Yeah,
I've
that
actually
makes sense.
fallen out of my bed from a falling dream and
Oh, wow.
hit the
That's
floor
got to be disorienting.
as a kid.
That'd be crazy.
Listening to bodies hit the floor.
But then again, as a kid, I slept walk.
Oh, yeah.
I would talk in my sleep. I would sit up in my sleep.
Even in high school, you were pretty crazy. Although I was too. So I think me staying at your house, your parents are probably just like, what is going on in there?
I know.
Yeah,
We're down in
I
the family
wonder,
room
like-
sleeping, like having a full
I wonder if
conversation
they're-
while we're asleep.
No, that is a true story. We have had a full conversation in our sleep, and we both woke up halfway
Yes.
through sentences, and I was like, "What did you say?" And you're like, "Nothing. I'm asleep."
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
I want to like research this, like, because like I slept walk as a kid too. Like, is that just like a thing that happens to like a majority of kids.
I think the majority of kids do, because I slept walk as a kid a lot too. I think kids are just, you're so active while you're sleeping that like your body takes over too. Like you haven't really learned yet. It's kind of like how kids like can wet the bed for a really long time too. You haven't really learned how to handle your body in a sleep state, and then you kind of do better as you get older, hopefully.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to tell you what I think of this movie, because Joe, you said you like this one. This is like kind of more top of your list for classics.
Yeah, I've always been partial to Freddy Krueger. He was kind of my favorite of all the Jasons and the Michael Myers. All of them, Freddy was my favorite.
Yeah, so the premise and the character of Freddy, I still really, really like. But this is, I think, my third viewing of this. So I haven't seen it very much, but I always remembered loving this movie, thinking like, man, they did such a great job for the time and for the budget, and this premise is just great. But watching it this time, I kind of had a glass shatter where I was like, man, the acting is really bad. The script is kind of all over the place and they don't really know what they're doing. The music's a little bit meh. And a lot of the practical effects I liked before, after watching the movies that made us, all I'm seeing are the imperfections that they talked about, where they're like, and I'm just like, dang it, I can't not see it now. Like, it sucks. So I don't know. I feel like I still love this concept, but I just feel like it's lost a bit of its luster for me.
The best part of the movie is not knowing whether or not you are in the dream state or not.
Yes, I agree. And I think that what benefits them is the fact that it is 1984 and they didn't have a big budget. So they couldn't really, you kind of are like, you're kind of disoriented too, because the filming lends itself to that, where if like I just watched the 2010 version and they really have to hone in every time like someone's asleep or not.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like you are now in the dream.
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay, there's like ash everywhere, it's like snowing in my room, of course I'm in a dream, you know.
Yeah, the later Freddy movies also get a little bit more with that, where the person thinks they woke up but they're still in the dream.
Well, here's my next question. So Krager, you haven't seen any Nightmare movies, right?
Nope.
Okay, Joe, how many of the sequels have you seen? Because there's a lot of them.
There are a lot. I've seen the next two.
So Freddy's Revenge and Dream Warriors.
I've seen New Nightmare.
Okay, that's the reboot in the 90s. That's not the continuity of any of the other films.
Yeah, it was like they were like filming the Freddy movie or something like that.
The Nightmare on Elm Street is an actual movie in that movie with the characters that played from the original in that movie.
Yep.
And then Freddy becomes alive as the character of Robert Englund portraying him. It's so weird.
It gets crazy.
Yeah.
And then I've seen Freddy versus Jason, and then the 20 whatever reboot.
Yeah, I kind of want to see Freddy versus Jason now. I haven't seen that one. I've seen the first one. I've seen Freddy's Revenge, the second one. I've seen New Nightmare and the remake. I have not seen Dream Warriors. I have not seen the Final Nightmare. I have not seen whatever the other two movies are. I'm drawing a blank on.
Isn't there a Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, that's what Joe was talking about. Which is funny.
That one. That one sounds like it would be good.
That's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I actually loved that movie, and I watched it all the time.
The premise sounds awesome, because I know like the whole story of how like Freddy brings Jason back from the dead to bring fear into people so that he can then get back into their nightmares.
Yeah,
but then he's all pissed off because Jason keeps killing everyone before he can get to them. I'm like,
that's essentially the premise.
It's such a good concept. I love it. But the thing that's funny about Freddy versus Jason is it was so just poorly received. They were supposed to make a second one that was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, and it never got greenlit. That would have been
by
so
the way,
cool.
was the girl
Ash Ketchum?
Was the girl when the girl turns off the TV at one point and she's watching? Wasn't that Ash? That Ash?
Yes. So there's a little bit of a back and forth between Wes Craven and Sam Raimi. So Wes Craven had her watching the original Evil Dead on her screen, and then if you watch Evil Dead 2, and I think we might have covered this in our Evil Dead 2 podcast, but Freddy's glove is hanging up in the shed.
We did mention that.
And that's the actual glove from the movie that Wes Craven let Sam Raimi borrow.
Oh, that's really
and
cool.
Then the glove came back, and the same glove in the first one, the second one, the third one, and then it got stolen after the third one. And no one knows where the original glove is anymore.
I didn't even know Wes Craven had so much to do with Halloween, too.
Mm-hmm. I know. Isn't it crazy? These movies that made us are like so cool.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing about that was learning how they filmed the Johnny Depp death scene.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I have that in my notes. Let's talk about it right now. Like, they filmed it by creating the room as a box.
Yeah.
And then they flipped it
upside down. So the water is actually coming down, but the camera is affixed to the box. So it looks like it's
That's
right
really
side
cool.
up.
Yeah, and it looks
so
like
crazy.
it's going upwards. It's crazy. And then they can rotate it more to change the direction of it. Oh, it was so cool.
And that's how the
Came
girl,
out so well.
that's how Tina, when she's flopping around the room,
Yep.
they were flipping it with her in it. And she got like such bad vertigo and everything from that. I'm like, I'd be so disoriented if I was in that.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Crazy.
So cool. I love it. I love it. So what do you guys think? Did this wreck your Halloween, or is this just part of the Halloween time?
It's classic Halloween movie. It is what it
Yeah.
is. You know, it's dated a bit, but it's a classic. Can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, especially now finding out from you guys that it was like a very low budget thing. Like, I thought it was great for its time, and I still like enjoyed it.
All of those were Halloween,
Mhm.
Friday the 13th.
Originally,
Nightmare on
I
Elm
think
Street.
it was $1 million budget, but I saw on IMDb they said 1.3 million was the budget, so they might have inflated it somewhere.
Yeah, well, they were turning rooms.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say, not as good as Sleepaway Camp. No, just kidding. So
Jeez.
some things I noticed watching it this time. I don't remember the beginning being the beginning. Like when I was watching it with the little tiny
how it
screen.
just, like, jumps right into it.
Well, it's like a little tiny screen, and it's Freddy making his glove. And I was sitting there,
Yeah.
I'm like, is this an alternate version?
I thought like, is my phone broken?
Yeah, right. I know it seems weird, but I remember it being jumps into the girl in her dream. I don't remember there being that like 1 minute sequence at the beginning, but
Mhm.
I could have just not been paying attention when I was watching it. The knives when he runs them across the things sounds like the raptors from Jurassic Park to me.
Oh, I could totally hear that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so weird. I could not get that out of my head the whole movie. And the knives. Okay, another thing that movies that made us talked about was the knives were real, and Robert Englund like cut himself multiple times. Well, first off, with In the Shadows right now, the whole Alec Baldwin tragedy that happened, where the
Why are we using real things?
Yeah, why are we? It's a movie. Why are we using real guns and real knives? Like, what is this?
I know.
I've had that thought too. Like, I think I watched like some like dumb crime show, and like basically like there was a gun on this, like they were in the episode they were talking about how like, oh, this play was going on and it was supposed to be a gun with blanks and it had a real bullet in it. And like, and I always thought like, if I was an actor, like, and someone like, even though I know the gun has blanks, a part of my head would like, man, like they could mess it up and put the wrong bullet, like that would always scare me a little bit.
Yeah, I have a friend who's an editor, and he kind of chimed in about this whole thing that happened, and he was like, it's hard to say because people are like, oh, it's cheaper than having a visual effects person like put in the sound and the smoke and all that. And he's like, actually, if you don't have guns on set, you don't need the safety officer specifically for that you're paying to be there every day for the gun safety part of it, and it's cheaper to actually do it in post-production. So actually it's safer and cheaper just to take it out completely.
Yeah,
but
in the back of my head, I would always be like, man, that would be such a terrible way to go. Someone puts in the wrong bullet on like a set. And that's how you go. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. But anyway, back to this movie. The whole time I was just thinking, does Nancy ever use conditioner? That hair is huge. That hair,
80s.
it's such big, like natty hair. Also, she had an inflatable bath pillow.
I saw that. I know. I was all like, huh, that looks kind of interesting. But also, like, it didn't look comfortable because it was straight up. It wasn't like angled or anything. It was like straight up.
Yeah, like it looked like a floaty with a tiny floaty for her head. It was so weird looking. Oh, that was great. And then also when Nancy is watching Evil Dead, I was kind of like, when I get freaked out and I'm trying to stay awake, my first thought is not watching a horror film. Like, why isn't she watching comedy? Why isn't she watching Friends or something? I know it's 1984, but I mean, come on. They had something back then, right?
Yeah,
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, exactly. That thing. The
Family Matters.
During all the chase scenes, that 80s music with like the synth they have, I don't know what it is about it, but it like gets me in such a vibe. I love that music. It's so good, but it doesn't fit the movie at all.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's almost like makes it too goofy.
I think the music is the worst part about it.
Well, I mean, that dude had like a day or two to make the music score for the whole thing.
Really?
So,
Wow.
yeah. And to be honest, yeah, I know people think that the composition of this is like iconic, but I'm not a huge fan of the music in this movie. But
Yeah, me neither.
who's in it? Oh, also, young Johnny Depp film debut. Krager and I were talking about this before. He doesn't even look like Johnny Depp. He's so young. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he thought he acted so poorly and was the worst part of the movie. And then he's the only one that goes on to be like this mega star.
Right. I think he's probably the most memorable person in there.
Because he did what? Edward Scissorhands after this. And then that just kind of shot him into the stratosphere.
That
What's
was his
Eating
next
Gilbert
role?
Grape?
Well, all he had to do is become friends with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And
seriously, though,
date
that got
Winona
him
Ryder.
so many of his roles. We just watched Sweeney Todd recently. Man.
I still need to
Perfect.
watch that movie.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
I don't think you would like it.
You don't think Krager would like
Why
it?
why do you say
Nah.
that?
It's a musical.
Do you assume
But
I
it's-
don't like musicals?
But it's a
That's
good
false.
musical.
I'm
It's a very
assuming
good-
you're not going to like this one.
There's a whole song about them
I s-
cooking people. It's a great musical.
I think you're underestimating me.
I actually disagree with you, Joe. I think Krager's going to love this movie because Sacha Baron Cohen's in it.
Ooh, I do
True.
love me some Sasha.
Yeah.
I like his song.
Yeah.
Or the song that the kid sings.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Yeah, it's a great song.
What is this? This is piss.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I cracked up so hard when Nancy's mom takes all like her coffee cups away and then she like gets up and pulls a plugged in coffee pot from under her bed. Like it's all ready to go and it's like hiding under her bed. I was like, this is so funny. Like I know it's not supposed to be funny, but I was dying.
I gave a little chuckle when first of all his name is Rod. I felt like that was very
Yeah.
poetic. But also when the blanket's starting to curl up and like then you see it like curl up go towards his neck and like you're like it's penis.
Yeah, because you're thinking of what is that? Scary Movie 2 or whatever, where that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also thinking
Poltergeist.
I think it's Scary Movie 3 where that one girl's hat gets bigger and bigger and bigger every scene she's in.
It is.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking of, this like coffee pot coming out. Like this seems like just a comedy bit that would be in a scary movie.
The first scary movies will never get better than "It's my strong hand."
No, that's the second
the
scary
second
movie.
one.
That's the second one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first one's all about Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, the phone licking her kind of gave me a chuckle too. I don't think that ages very well.
No, it didn't look the best.
No.
That is one thing that I did like about this movie is there is a lot of mystery as to what Freddy looks like throughout the good portion of the movie.
That's true. That's true. You don't get a good look at him like right away. But so okay, at the end of the movie, her dad's across the street where Glenn just died, and she like calls out behind the bars, and it's like, I'm gonna go to sleep. I need you to come in 20 minutes because I'm gonna pull Freddy out.
Break the door down.
She does so much stuff in 20 minutes. She sets all the Home Alone traps. She like talks to her mom. She cleans up. She catches an episode of like a TV show. Like she
I know,
does
I was
so
all
much
like-
stuff in
I was
20
like-
minutes.
I didn't know she was a McAllister.
Oh, because
Home Alone?
of the Home Alone. Although I'm just like, it could be a little bit. I don't. What did those traps actually do? Because it didn't seem like they actually hurt him that much, even in
They
the real
slowed him
world.
down and they frustrated him.
I guess.
It's
Also,
frustrating.
Not the best dad moment ever to be like, yeah, I'll be over there, honey, and then he doesn't come, and then she dies.
Right.
I was digging those spicy footsteps.
Oh, those spicy footsteps are nice. Something just fell next to me.
It's really funny because the cat that is now in Joe's screen like jumped towards you on my screen out
And I
of
went like
Joe's
this.
screen. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And then the final thing about this movie I want to mention here is I feel like the ending was very rushed. Like, what do you guys think of that? Because I feel like they had this, it's kind of moving along at a good pace, and all of a sudden she's like, I'm going to pull him out of into the real world. And then it was just like, he's out in the real world. Things are crazy. He grabs the mom and pulls her into some weird nether realm. The dad is like, I'm sad, but not that sad, and then walks out. And then she's like, I revoke you. And then the mom gets pulled through a window. Like, I was just like, what is happening in the last 5 minutes
The mom
of this movie?
through the window made me laugh because it was just
looked
like,
awful.
oh, it was so bad. But it was
Yeah, it
really
looked
funny
awful.
how fast it was like, no.
Yeah.
It does go with what they were saying in the movies that made us, though. They really didn't have any idea on how to end it, or they had too many ideas of how to end it.
And also that the dude like during the like screening was cutting and editing in the
it as they were doing it.
on
And they
reel
stopped
2.
it halfway through, didn't they?
They did. Because they didn't have the right ending on. So like the producer person came out and he's like, all right, we're going to do a 20-minute break so that my editor can put the right ending. I'm like, yeah, way to ruin a screening, man.
Why not just say this is a planned intermission and don't tell people you're putting it together? Like,
because it's
either
like,
way, an intermission in a movie is going to take you right out of it.
especially an hour and a half movie. Like it's such a short movie. So yeah, I just thought the ending was kind of rushed, and I feel like they could have done a little bit better job. But let's talk about this movie a little bit here. November 16th, 1984 is when it came out. Still kind of spooky season. It's supposed to be set in a place called Springwood, somewhere in Ohio. But like you can blatantly see it's mostly filmed in Southern California. Like it's
yeah.
very much looks like Southern California. This has a 95% critic score.
Wow.
95.
Really?
Yes.
That's
and
insane.
an 84 audience. So like this movie, people love
Very
it.
well received.
Very well received.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it built New Line Cinema.
Well, I mean, also at the time, it was very different from all the other horror films because one, you had a main character who was a girl who was actually smart, who never fell down, who made it kind of to the end of the movie, depending on how you look at it. I mean, I know she's in some of the later films and stuff, but I feel like this was like a new take where it wasn't just like we're stalking kids and killing them. It was like this new idea of horror, which was
definitely
very innovative for the time. Wes Craven directed and wrote this movie. You know, he did Scream, The Hills Have Eyes. His first thing he ever did was The Last House on the Left.
I believe so.
Yeah. He's a big name in horror films. Like everyone knows who Wes Craven is.
It's also the person that Jordan confuses with that Wes Anderson.
When have I ever? Why is Bill Murray Why is Bill Murray in my horror film? I think Wes Craven passed away in 2015, if I'm correct. So not that long ago. Yeah, not that long ago.
I think that sounds right.
And then, so Nancy's played by Heather Langenkamp. I wanted to mention her because she was in a few of the other Nightmare movies, but also she has a bit role in Star Trek Into Darkness. I was just like, she's like a character with one line, like a person on the bridge who says something. I was like,
no way.
Yeah, exactly. Just like going to red alert, sir. What is that Vulcan doing here? And then Robert Englund. Everyone knows Robert Englund. He was Freddy in every movie except for the reboot. Big name. He was also in Wishmaster as well. I think he was like a stage actor before this, if I'm correct.
He was on some TV show.
Yeah, he was on a TV show. Oh, you're right. He was on some sitcom, I think. Back in like the
before
late 70s.
Freddy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it a thing where like he lived just down the street from where they were filming?
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah, it's so funny. And then I want to mention Lynn Shay. She plays the teacher in this movie that where Nancy has one of her dreams. But she's also been in Insidious, Snakes on a Plane. There's Something About Mary, Dumb and Dumber. She's
everywhere.
She's everywhere. Like you definitely a recognizable person for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. You'll recognize her.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some fun facts about this 1984 version here. We've probably covered a few of them, but let's talk about some of the other ones.
What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh yeah. What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh yeah.
One of the main reasons that Johnny Depp was chosen was because Wes Craven's daughter thought he was dreamy. I mean, he's pretty dreamy.
True. It is true.
He's a very dreamy fellow.
He's got that look that Cam likes, the sunken eyes. And...
Yes. Yes, he does. He looks like he's had a little bit too much crack. So all of the boiler...
a slight drug problem.
Yes, just a slight, though. Like,
it's
you
under
can still
control,
save him. Yeah, you can still save him. All of the boiler room footage was filmed in the basement of the Lincoln Heights jail in Los Angeles, which was condemned right after they finished filming because of asbestos. Good old asbestos.
Has anyone ever been in a boiler room?
I've never been in a
places have boiler rooms?
Yes, the Overlook Hotel, and apparently this like high school or kindergarten or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like boiler
I bet
rooms.
Stay on Main has one.
Oh, dude, I bet you it does. Totally. And some people died in that boiler room.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Boiler rooms were like such a big thing. They were even in like WWE video games.
You're right. Also, another Home Alone reference. There was like the boiler downstairs that he was scared of. Like,
Yeah.
where
Did
all
boiler
the
rooms so popular? Where'd they go?
Yeah, where'd all the boiler rooms go? Like,
Where
did we
did they
just get
come
rid of
from?
them? That's so weird. That's so funny. That's a good
Joe.
higher thoughts with Joe. Where'd all the boiler rooms go?
It's true.
That global warming is from the boiler rooms.
Everyone just forgot they were on. We just gotta go turn them all off, and then we'll be fine. So the inspiration for the character of Freddy came from several sources in Wes Craven's childhood. Freddy Krueger was a schoolmate of his with whom he had shared a paper route and had bullied him for several years. In The Last House on the Left, Craven also used his experience as inspiration, calling the villain Krug. So, and the appearance of Freddy Krueger actually was inspired by a hobo that Craven saw staring at him through his window when he was 10 years old. That's
not creepy.
Yeah, that's a creepy scenario right there.
What'd you think about the Freddy look?
I personally like the Freddy look of the remake more than the actual Freddy look.
It's a little bit more realistic.
Yes.
But I think the original one is a little scarier.
It is, but also this time I almost found it goofier because I feel like he was like running around like a goofball kind of. And
I mean, that's very much Freddy though.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
Freddy's
I just
a
don't find it
goofball.
scary, really. I'm just like, if he was running
I
at
agree.
me, I'd be like, what are you doing? What is this? Yeah. So I don't know. I think I get the original is so iconic, but I think there's a reason why all like video games and stuff that feature Freddy Krueger in it is from the 2010 remake. He's way scarier.
Yeah, I could see that.
Also, I like his voice. I like the dude's voice. Jackie Earl Haley
Jones.
The dude who played Rorschach is the guy who is Freddy Krueger.
And I like I'm always his voice. Partial to Robert Englund.
Oh, are you? Do you like Robert Englund's voice a little bit better?
Oh yeah,
for
Freddy.
I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
I think it's also because he's been in so many of them that it's just synonymous to me with his voice.
Yeah,
it's like hearing Darth Vader. You can't picture Darth Vader with someone else besides James Earl Jones,
like David Prowse's voice.
Yeah,
that would be so bad. I also feel like I kind of am realizing that if you let horror franchises go on long enough, they kind of just become comedies. Like Child's Play, it happened. Freddy, it happened. Even Friday the 13th, like Jason Goes to Manhattan and Jason X and all. Halloween H2O. I mean,
yeah.
Home Alone 5, Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Dude, that's the crossover we need. Kevin McAllister and Jason. That would be amazing. So another fun fact here. Wes Craven's original concept for Freddy Krueger was considerably more gruesome, with teeth showing through the flesh over the jaw, pus running from the sores, and part of the skull showing through the head. Makeup artist David B. Miller argued that an actor couldn't be convincingly made up that way, and a puppet would be hard to film and wouldn't blend well with live actors, so the ideas were eventually abandoned. The words Elm Street...
I feel like they did pretty good, though.
Oh, I feel like they did a great job. The words Elm Street are not spoken at all during the movies. Do we even see Elm Street like a sign?
Not that I remember.
I don't think we do in this movie.
I don't think so either, actually.
I think we just know because the title is called Nightmare on Elm Street. And we're like, I assume they live on Elm Street.
It's definitely in the sequels and stuff. You'll see the sign Elm Street, and it's a lot more prominent. But
yeah, because they end up being known as like because you end up knowing that like Freddy only haunts people who come from Elm Street is essentially like what it comes down to.
Well, it's like the people that killed him.
Yeah, exactly.
Their descendants.
His dream demon revenge or whatever. They get into a whole lore about like him being brought back by these demonic beings. I liked it when they don't explain it too much.
I do too.
Like I
liked more about this one.
I need a little explanation, but not like so much that there's no mystery anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the original script, Freddy's famous red and green sweater was actually red and yellow, based on the colors worn by Plastic Man. I bet you all know the good old Plastic Man. However, when Wes Craven read an article in Scientific American in 1982, it said that the two most contrasting colors to the human retina were red and green, so he decided to alter the colors. Yeah. That's why, Christmas hurts our retinas.
Why the hat?
Merry Chrysler.
The hat was because of the hobo that he was looking in at him.
The hobo had the same hat?
The hobo had the hat. That's a hobo hat if I've ever seen a hobo hat.
Agreed.
Definitely a hobo hat.
That's the brand, hobo hat?
That is, yes. Hobo's the brand. It's a great hat. Go get it at your local Urban Outfitters.
Oh my God.
So Glenn was supposed to rise from the bed after the bloodbath scene, but that part was cut because they couldn't figure out a way to do it right afterwards. Which I think they pay an homage to it in the remake where the girl who plays Nancy falls through the blood ceiling into the bed. So it's kind of like they finally did it in a movie. Good old CGI. And then
they kept the bathroom scene in the remake too, didn't they?
What's the bathroom
Where the
scene?
glove is like coming from the tub
Yes.
and she falls asleep?
Yep, that's almost identical, as well as there's a scene where the girl in the plastic bag in the hallway of the school getting dragged by like an unknown being. But yeah, the tub scene is like shot for shot exactly the same. Except
One
it's
thing
Rooney Mara.
One thing that I loved what they did in the remake is the idea of their entire way of beating it was to not go to sleep. But then it was if you go without sleep for so long,
You die.
you essentially are able to start essentially dreaming or
You have
I don't know,
micro
what's the
naps.
proper
They call them
word?
micro
Yeah.
naps, and like you're dreaming while you're awake. So he starts bleeding into the real world. And then the kicker is if your body just shuts down and you're in like a coma, so you're in a sleep that you can't wake up from.
Yep.
Wow.
They did have a lot of cool concepts, especially that concept where Freddy was like, when your heart stops beating, your brain is still active for like 7 minutes. So he's like, I got you for 6 more minutes. I'm like, oh my God, that's so brutal. Like he's technically dead in the real world, but like he's still being tortured in the dream world.
Yeah, it's something that they made in Freddy vs. Jason 2, where they make drugs that suppress dreams to try to control Freddy.
Was it a drug called Hypnosil?
Hypnosil.
Hypnosil. Yeah, that's the drug. That's the famous.
I just had
nightmare
a
sleep
mental
drug.
picture. It was like, I got you for 6 more minutes. Would you like to hear the story I wrote?
So it's a
Like,
comedy.
no!
It's a comedy about two dogs that live together in the city.
Would you like to hear about your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Dude, okay. That's like definitely a Funny or Die sketch right there. That's some
Yeah.
good stuff. I love that.
Something about your one-man show.
about your car's extended warranty.
Oh my gosh. All right. So my last fun fact here on this movie is the scene where Nancy's dreams are being examined at that like lab or whatever. The nurse there is actually played by Wes Craven's then wife, Mimi Craven.
Ah.
Yeah. So that's a fun little cameo I didn't know about. So let's talk about the reboot real quick because Joe, you've seen the reboot. How do you feel the reboot stacks up compared to the original?
It was fine. I didn't mind it. I do like the original more. There were some ideas like the nap and the awake dreams that I thought were really cool. I did think that movie was a little bit guilty of putting a little bit too much backstory, kind of like what the sequels did.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I like it when there's a little more mystery to it. But overall, I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah.
The remakes actually aren't terrible. I liked Friday the 13th. I liked Amityville Horror. I liked Halloween. I actually liked all of them.
I'm a huge sucker for like a 2005 to 2010 horror film. They all have this like aesthetic, right? Like pretty gory and graphic and dark and gritty, but like still accessible. I don't know. I what comes to mind is like Sorority's Row.
Okay.
Like-
Haven't seen that movie in a while.
Yeah. So like okay. So like the way I think about it is like the acting isn't great. The kid, like it's always the same story. It's a bunch of kids who are getting like killed off, and all the kills are like very particular because it's almost like it reminds me of what was it, the South Park episode where they said Family Guy was just created by walruses grabbing random things out of a tank, and like that's what they made it. That's how I feel those movies are. It was a bunch of writers in a room where they just throw a bunch of crap up on a board, and then they pull things off and put them together. Like that's how this person's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like I dig it.
Yeah, so that's how I feel like those movies from that era are.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah, it's like the gritty reboot of comic book films, but for horror films, in my opinion. So I don't know. I just am a huge sucker for that aesthetic. I love it. Like the terrible acting, overacting, and the fact that like freaking Katie Cassidy or whatever her name is like in so many of those horror films. She was in When a Stranger Calls. She was in the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. She was in one other one too during that time, another horror film where she gets killed off, and I can't remember what it was, but like,
Was it Black Christmas?
oh, it was Black Christmas. That was it. Yep. So I love it. It's great. It's great. Oh, you know what movie I just rewatched too, Joe, that I actually saw for the first time at your house was Dead Silence.
I love that movie. I thought that movie was great.
That movie is so good, especially because Donnie Wahlberg is in it.
Yeah.
I love it. He doesn't get enough love, man. It was great.
Guy from True Blood is the main actor in it.
Yes.
I just like the ending.
Yeah, the ending is great. With like he's got like a wood esophagus. It's so crazy.
You know what's another movie? I think I've even mentioned it before that I absolutely love, but it's not a good movie. It's called Stay Alive. It has
Okay.
like Frankie Muniz and Sophia Bush in it.
Is it the one about the video game?
Yes, they
Okay.
play this like underground video game, and when you die in the game, you die in real life. You have to figure out a way to stop the curse.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that one like a long time ago. We should watch that one for this.
That's another guilty pleasure of mine. Love that
Yeah.
movie.
You know what's actually a really good movie that has no right to be a good movie? It's Happy Death Day.
Oh my
That one's
gosh,
a
have you seen
funny
the
movie.
second one?
Oh yeah, I've
No,
seen the
is it
second
good?
one because the second one
I
got
thought
like
they were both
super,
great.
super sci-fi in the second one. It was like
Oh
super
yeah, the
weird.
second
one
one
was
got
fun.
with like alternate universes. And
Yeah. I feel like it shouldn't be allowed to be as good as it is, but it was a very enjoyable movie. Both of them.
I like the chick. She's hot.
Yes, that too. And she drinks it's just a great comedic idea that like she has all these different ways she kills herself, like
Yeah.
it's just great. It reminded me of Butterfly Effect at the time. Like it very much had that same feel to me.
You know, I just recently rewatched Butterfly Effect, and the ending was different than the versions that I've seen before.
Oh, well, they do have two very different endings. I do know that. I think we've covered it when we were watching the Butterfly Effect 2, because that's something we did. But yeah, they did have two, because there was one ending where he goes back to the womb and kills himself or something.
That's the one that I saw. I was
Yeah.
like, what is this? The ending I remembered is like he went back to when he was a kid and he's just not friends with the Amy Smart and the other people.
Yes.
But this one, yeah, he went back to the womb and like killed himself in the womb. I was like, what the heck is that?
I want to say the theatrical ending. I want to say this. It's like one of those weird instances where the original screening, like the premiere, had the ending where he went back to the womb and killed himself, so he never existed. And then it tested so poorly that they changed it after it had already premiered
For
but
the
hadn't gone
DVD
to
release?
yet. Yeah, so it's like on the DVD release because it was actually a part of the movie. But like all of us in theaters saw the ending where he just like
Differently.
doesn't become friends with her.
Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, all that
Back
to be
to
said,
Freddy.
back to Freddy. Let me do a very quick Jordan Explains the Movie for the remake here. All right, so it's like the same movie, but like Black Canary's there and Lisbeth Salamander or whatever her name is from Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Also, John Connor is there and Rorschach. And they're all in this universe where there's dreams. And instead of a child murderer, it's a child molester. And then Nancy actually brings him out of the dream. And then something about burning him. But then instead of a window, it's a mirror. And the mom dies still anyway. And Michael Bay explosions. Okay, so that was that movie. I really liked the remake. I thought it was good. Wes Craven originally wanted to have Freddy be a child molester, and they wouldn't let him do it in the 80s. Well, they got their way in 2010, made him a child molester instead of
And
a
they
killer.
reveal that in the sequels of the original.
Yeah, they finally kind of got that down the way. But this movie had a $35 million budget, which makes sense. 2010, that's pretty average.
Inflation.
Yeah. It made 115 million worldwide, so it definitely made its money back. But here's the problem: it was not received well. People hated this movie so much. It got a 15% critic score and a 43% audience score. People do not like this movie, which
I think what made the original so great was it was a concept or an idea that hadn't been seen before. There is the, you know, the Michael Myers, the killers. Give me a second here.
Is there someone at the door? I was going to say, what's interesting, the biggest complaint people had about this movie is that it was too much like the original. But I don't like. So Joe, the biggest complaint that people had about this movie was that it was too much like the original. I don't feel like it was that much like they were saying like, oh, all the kills were the same and there's too much homage going on. I'm like, isn't that
it's
part
a reboot?
Isn't that part of doing the reboot? Like, you want some scenes to be similar, but like, so I don't think that's a valid argument for not liking this movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think that's a valid argument at all. It's a reboot. What do you expect?
I think a valid argument is the fact that like some scenes look really bad, like when he breaks through the window and stabs the mom in the back of the face and stuff. Like, it just looks awful. But
yeah,
I mean, way worse than the actual what word am I looking for where it's real? Not pragmatic.
Reality?
What is it called when you do real effects? Oh my gosh, how many? It starts with a P.
Practical?
Practical, not pragmatic. Practical effects.
Very pragmatic. You couldn't remember that.
Yeah, real bad. But let me tell you some fun facts about this 2010 remake here. Freddy's sweater was knitted by Judy Graham, the same woman who knitted Freddy's sweater in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. So that's nice.
Fun.
They couldn't go buy it at a Halloween store?
I guess not. You would think they could. Also, this cast. So, like I said, Katie Cassidy, who played Black Canary in The Arrow and was in a bunch of other horror films, was in this movie. Rooney Mara plays Nancy. The only character that's the same besides Freddy is Rooney Mara plays Nancy. She went on to be Lisbeth whatever from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And there's a fan theory that like they're the same person.
Interesting. I've actually never seen Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Have you ever read the book?
Nope.
Oh, it's very much about rape. So that's why they kind of draw the same conclusion there. Like, she was raped as a child. This is her now, older. There you go. But then also there was the dude who played, I think his name was Jesse. He was like the Rod character in this one. He was played by a guy who played John Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV show. So that was kind of fun.
Ah, you love that show.
I love that show. So that was fun. So you got John Connor in there. You got Black Canary in there. You got Chick from Dragon with a Tattoo in there. We have the guy from the best friend from Disturbia shows up on like a web series. For like 2 minutes, he shows up. Like the cast had some interesting people in it. So I like that.
No Shia LaBeouf?
No Shia LaBeouf, though. Nope, didn't come in for this one. So Wes Craven was not approached about this remake, and he has been publicly outspoken against how much he doesn't like it. So no stamp of approval from Wes Craven. I don't get why you wouldn't have Wes Craven be involved.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because the dude who directed it, literally, this is the only feature-length film he's ever directed. Yeah, go for it.
It didn't have Wes Craven, and it didn't have Robert Englund.
No, but here's the thing. It had Jackie Earle Haley, who played Freddy, and Robert Englund actually like kind of gave him the go-ahead. He was like, no, I think his portrayal is really good. I think he's a good cast. So Robert Englund was all on board. He's like, hey, he did a great job. Good on him. That's totally fine.
At least he put in his input.
Yeah, so Robert Englund doesn't hold any grudges here. But this film was directed... What is the guy's name?
Wes Craven?
No, I cannot remember.
Wes Anderson?
No, not
He's Craven.
None of the Wesses. None of the Wesses. But
Wesley Snipes?
This director only directed this movie. He exclusively only directed music videos besides this, like Green Day music videos and like Blind Melon
American
in the
Idiot.
90s. He's the guy that directed Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Samuel Bayer.
That's it, Samuel Bayer. I don't know why they picked this dude. Like, why are you going to have him direct a movie?
The interview.
Yeah, so weird. It's super weird.
That is weird.
Mr.
the
Krabs was
people.
in the 2010 remake.
Oh yeah, that's right. Clancy Brown was in the movie too. I forgot about him. He plays like a guidance counselor.
Mr. Krabs.
So Platinum Dunes is the production company Michael Bay owns that did this movie. This movie was so poorly received, they didn't make another movie for 3 years until The Purge. They just like shut
Really?
down production.
Like, let's take a break.
Yeah, they were kind of like,
We need to
I think
reevaluate.
We'll chill for a bit. So that's kind of funny. And then Rooney Mara, she hates this movie so much, and she almost quit
The
acting.
remake? What?
Yeah. She was like, I dislike this movie I was in so much. I'm just going to quit acting. But she didn't.
Quitters.
She decided to go ruin another property before she quit acting. Because they only
What did
made
she do then?
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. They did one.
Ah.
It was supposed to be a trilogy. They did one, and then they never made any more.
Oh, the Michael Bay movie I was thinking of was called Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Ambulamps.
Oh, is it like Phone Booth? It all just takes place in the back of an ambulance?
No. Two robbers
That movie
steal an
wasn't
ambulance
terrible.
after their heist goes awry.
Sounds okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Yeah, but Gyllenhaal, I mean, does anyone remember Prince of Persia?
Actually, Stacy's mom was watching that like a month ago as I was like over at their house, and I was all like, I'm watching like this movie cannot be made nowadays because it's what's the term? Is it
Whiteface.
culture appropriation where like a bunch of white actors are getting roles of
Yeah, it's
other
called
ethnicities?
whitewashing.
Whitewashing. Yeah, I'm all like it is like super whitewashed.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had that problem up until like even now. So
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the Netflix movie Guilty
no.
with Jake
No.
Gyllenhaal?
Mm-mm. Is
Ah.
it good?
Eh.
What about that movie? What about that movie
okay.
Source Code he was in? Remember that one?
Source code.
The one where he's on a
by the way,
train
I
and keeps
watched-
dying or something?
I watched Zodiac.
No.
It was great.
Oh, Zodiac is a great movie. They're
Haven't seen that
actually
one.
Zodiac was supposed to have the writer, the screenplay writer of the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, made a prequel to Zodiac. Don't ask me how.
Wow.
A prequel. Oh no, it was 7. Never mind. He did a prequel to 7. I got them mixed up. Sorry.
It's called
Wes
6?
Craven, Wes Anderson, 7, Zodiac. I can't keep these things straight anymore.
Well, wasn't 7 New Line Cinema as well?
It was. Yes, it was New Line Cinema. Which I would be down to see, like, instead of what's in the box, like, what's in the
in the glove?
bag? You know?
What's in the Amazon package?
Yeah. So finally, my last fun fact here is that the same animators who did the CGI work for Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight also did the CGI work for Freddy's face, which you can kind of tell they both have that like open cheek
Mouth
look where you can see the bone and
Like
then
the
the mouth
muscle.
inside. So it's almost identical. It's like they took the assets and just used them for the same thing.
Nice.
So yeah, those are the 2 movies.
I after we were talking about how the actress from Ted Lasso was in Dark Knight Rises, I rewatched Dark Knight Rises, and yes, she is in it.
What part was she in specifically so we know?
She plays Catwoman's friend,
That narrows it down.
Keely.
That's
Well,
her
that's her
friend's
name in
name? Isn't
Ted
that her
Lasso.
name?
No, Keely's the name of the character that she plays in Ted Lasso.
Ah,
Her
Isn't her
name
name like
is-
Juno or
is-
something?
It's Juno something. Hold on, let me see. Hold on.
Juno Page?
Juno and the Infinite Playlist.
Isn't that Nick
Juno
and Nora?
Temple.
Yeah, that is Nick and Nora.
Juno Temple.
Nice.
No, Juno Temple.
She's Roy Kent's girlfriend in Ted Lasso. I'm Roy Kent.
Well, then, on that note, go check out wreckmypodcast.com where you can find our Patreon, our Redbubble, our Instagram, our YouTube, all that fun stuff over there. Ratings and reviews, always appreciated. Hey, guys, this is Halloween.
Yeah.
What's this?
Yeah.
What's this? It's Halloween. So I
Are we
think...
doing another horror film?
No, I think because this one's coming out right before Halloween, I think what we're going to do next is an Around a Round Table because people are clamoring. They're clamoring at the gates for us to do another Around a Round Table.
Speaking of patrons, send in your questions.
I know we never get any
Yes.
Patreon questions anymore. No one's
We
curious.
haven't heard Blue's Clues theme in a while.
No, Krager hasn't been able to bark in like months.
Woof.
Wolf. So yeah, go do that. I think we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna cover Small Soldiers because of Elite Eight Showdown. They say it holds up. We're
It's
gonna
actually
find
Elite
out.
Eight Letdown.
Yeah.
So
Elite Eight Hoedown. It's actually where they always talk about different dances that you do at a hoedown, and they have them fight against each other in an 8-bracket elimination tournament. One winner wins them all. What besides the square dance, what do you do at a hoedown?
I don't know. I thought it was just they were saying what their preferable garden hoses were.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they just discussed the differences between a hoedown and a hootenanny.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's all the show is. It's 3 hours every week discussing the differences
I think
between.
I would prefer the hootenanny.
I prefer the hootenanny.
Oh, all about the hootenanny.
Yeah, a hubbub is a hubbaloo. Hubbaloo is more my scene.
Moving on.
Anyway, and then one more thing that we were going to cover in the upcoming
The Last
weeks
Airbender.
is what?
The Last Airbender.
We do have to cover that. That is on the
I
list.
rewatched it like a month ago and I was so sad.
But a fan did ask us to cover, I want to say, the Halloween Rob Zombie reboot.
Okay.
So we might cover that one in the weeks to come. Maybe in December, because that's very Christmassy. So sure. So yeah, that's it. That's the show.
Thanksgiving special.
That's the show. You were always my favorite, Nancy. Okay, bye.
I like and I love you all.
I'm Roy Kent and I don't like feelings.
Wreck My Podcast. Wreck My Podcast.
Which one of you sent me Spontaneous too?
That wasn't me.
Definitely wasn't me.
I thought one of you sent me the trailer for Spontaneous, the movie.
Whoa.
I haven't even heard of Spontaneous before.
What's the trailer of what's Spontaneous?
Spontaneous is that coming of age story where people start just randomly spontaneously combusting in high school. No,
That
Maybe
definitely
I
sounds
did.
like a Cam thing.
maybe Cam sent that to me.
Sounds like a Cam thing.
Someone sent it to me, and they were like, "We have to cover this on the podcast." And I thought it was one of you
Now
guys.
that you say that, I do think I remember seeing something along those lines. Maybe I saw a TikTok of the trailer. And
That's what it was. You sent us a TikTok of the movie
of the trailer.
of someone
Got it.
talking about the trailer, and we have to
Yes.
cover that for Patreon. I feel like that'd be a good Patreon episode.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to watch
yeah.
that. It looks very ridiculous. It's like rubber. Yeah, Sweeney Todd's my top
Also,
3.
I can't get enough of these everything bagel chips. They are addicting as fuck.
I was gonna say I couldn't read what the bag was. It was too blurry.
It's just murr. That doesn't help.
Doesn't help. Hey,
It's
I
the
didn't know
same
Stacey
company
made
that
bagel chips.
right. It's the same company that makes the pita chips.
I love pita chips.
Yeah, but these are everything bagel chips, and holy fuck!
Craiger and I were just discussing the new Flash trailer and Uncharted trailer.
I haven't seen either of them yet.
I was saying Uncharted looks whatever. Flash looks okay, even though I don't like Ezra Miller. But it at least looks like it'll be a fun movie. Yeah, he's the guy that sleeps with Amy Schumer in Trainwreck. He's 17.
John Cena. That's
No, there's
I just haven't seen all that movie.
Ezra Miller is like works with Amy Schumer in that movie, like, and then at the end they hook up, but he's like 17 and living with his mom. It's pretty funny. 2, 3. Oh, I scared the cat.
Where?
The cat was walking in, then right when you clapped, it like bolted out. Oh, there's the dog. The clap scares the cat, but it brings the dog in. That's pretty funny. He's like, peace out, bro. Oh. It's Craiger.
Yeah, it's me.
Just kidding.
Oh, I was all like, I told him, hold on, I'm closing my door.
I thought that would get you.
That was good. I was all like, oh shit, that's me.
Just say a word. All right, cool. I'll bring us into it now.
Check my podcast